Thank you so much, our dear members, our Orchard followers, those of you who love this platform, those of you who have been missing us. Somewhere here, we have taken some time without sharing a message, but thank God finally we are here. And I'm saying that be blessed with this message, be blessed when you listen to our messages. We want to believe that we are changing lives, we want to believe there's some reconciliation in some marriages there, want to believe that there's good health in your marriage. I want to believe that, those who are packed, maybe there are some people who have unpacked and they are saying, we want to build a marriage. We are passionate. I have seen God in this. I want to make it. Guess what? The message I've brought for you, dear friends. The message I have brought for you is that God is able. Yes, someone would be asking, God is able. You're talking about marriage. Yes, I'm talking about marriage. And I'm declaring that God is able. Yes, I'm going to take us through a number of scenarios, a number of places where God's power was proven that He is able, where God's presence proven that He is indeed able. Yes, thank you so much, dear friend. So God is able. So I want to bring the first scenario that I want to bring to us is that I want to remember that story of Elijah and the widow at Zarephath. Elijah and the widow at Zarephath. Elijah had commanded the rain not to come for 3 years. And guess what? When he commanded the rain, by faith he stood and commanded the rain, and the whole place was so dry, and Elijah also had nothing to eat. And he was up and down. He went somewhere, God told him, go to that place, and the ravens will be feeding you. He went to somewhere, and the ravens were feeding him, and he had a brook of water that he was taking from that place. And later the brook dried, like a fountain of water dried. So Elijah was stuck and he had nothing to eat. He was stuck in what next now? He was stuck in what do I add on now? He was stuck on what next now? What is this, oh God? And Elijah was there. No supply of food, no water, no drinks, and he's there in a dry land, and everyone is crying, and even the man of God who commanded the rain is crying. Guess what? I could think maybe he's like, what did I do to myself? What did I do? He is also part of this now. So, dear friends, that story now, I want to challenge you that such a stories will come into our marriage. You'll be in a place where you are totally stuck of what to add on next. You'll be totally stuck of what is coming next. You'll be totally stuck of what else can I bring on table? What else can I bring on board? The marriage will squeeze you in a corner, and as often as possible, you are likely to find yourself in a place and you have no response, you have no kind of direction, you have no kind of, you cannot see tomorrow clearly, you cannot see the next day clearly. So, marriage is likely to push you in that corner like Elijah was. There's no rain at all, he has no food at all, and no water at all, and the raven that was bringing you bread and bread and drink, it is no more now, and he is very stuck. It's very stuck. We find that in First King chapter 17. First King chapter 17, from verse 7 going downward is there. So in a marriage, I have come to realize you will often be at that point where you are totally stuck. In terms of decision and other areas, you'll be so stuck like Elijah was. But also, I also remember the message of Jesus in Mark chapter 6, I think from verse 33 over to 33, 35 to like 44. You know, Jesus is in a remote place with a crowd of people. He had actually ministered to people, and then he told his disciples, let us cross over to a remote place such that I can share with you heart to heart message. I can, we can have a closet together, we can have this moment together. But as immediately as he crossed to the other side of the red, a crowd followed him. And they were there for long. And he has been there for long with them, and they had no food. I can guess maybe for a long day. And he realized there's no food. And the disciples told him, these people sent them away because there is no food. We cannot get enough food to feed these people. They have been here for day long. And they are very hungry, they are very tired, they are very weary. And Jesus is like, what do I send them? How do you send such a hungry people to? Where do I send such a weary people to? They may not even be able to walk back to their places. So Jesus is in that situation with his disciples, with a crowd of people to feed, and they are very stuck with what to feed them with. and they see the people that have been patiently listening to this message. Maybe they have been filled with the Holy Spirit. Maybe the lame are walking now. Maybe the blind have seen now. Maybe a lot has happened, and people's hearts are changed. They have believed in Jesus and are still stuck on Him, but they leave nothing to feed them. And Jesus asks them, He says, "What do you have?" He asked the disciples, "Look around yourselves. What do you have? What do you have?" And they told him, "We have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish." And that is exactly what he used to feed them. So as often as possible, you'll be in a place where you are like, what else can I add on now? In this situation in my marriage now, what can I bring on table? What can save us now? What else can we add on? And that's what the message is coming, that God is able. So I want to challenge you, dear friends. You need to believe in this God. You need to believe in this God, the creator of heaven and earth. Every other time when you're totally stuck, He would make a way. Every other time when you're totally stuck, He would make a way. He will break through for you. I remember there's a time when I was in the university, and I struggled with the university fees. I struggled so much. So this time I had like completely exhausted all my sources, and all my sources of all those who are standing with me, of my grandmom who was there for me. So it was all exhausted. And guess what, dear friends? When I was stuck there, it was a week towards exams. Personally, I had never had like a miracle of people sitting exams without finishing fees, at least around me. That place you had to finish fees. So when it was a week to time, I gave myself to prayer and fasting. I prayed Monday up to Friday in prayer and fasting. And on Friday, when I had finished fasting, I remember the next day in the morning, I got a call from someone. I got a call from someone, and he said, like, "But what did you say your fees is?" I said, "It is this amount." "Oh, we are sorry, we have sent fees, but it is less than this." This was a Saturday, and the exams were like on Monday. They were like on Monday. "Ah, we are sorry, we have not, it's not enough, but it is, let us look for the balance also." By Sunday, I got this fees, dear friends, and by Monday, I want to tell you, I had paid and I sat my exams. I want to tell you, I had been totally stuck. All my areas of hopes were totally exhausted. I was not seeing any other direction in this place. So I want to challenge you, dear friends, that God is able. God is able. There's this example. So when you talk about Elijah, what Elijah was going through, is an example of one of my bosses told me a good experience, a good testimony of what happened to her. She told me that, she was at the university. She had struggled also with fees of postgraduate course, and this was the time for graduation clearance. And she just works to the university where they were doing clearances from. She works to one office, and when she works to this office, she had good balance of fees. And the officer was there, was like, "Oh, yes, yes, you cleared your fees, you cleared your fees. Let them give you the card. Go to the next office." This officer gave her a card, and going to the next office, they gave her a finance. She got the full clearance. Like everyone was like, "Yeah, yeah, you're cleared. Let them give you a card. Let them give you a card." Such a great miracles of God stepping in from where you could not expect at all. That is what I am sharing with us, dear friends. Tells me she later had to clear fees far later, but she was cleared and graduated when she had the balance of fees, and like no one could believe this. She had some fellow students, they were in the struggle with, who had no fees also, who was struggling. They heard that she was cleared. They heard that she's on graduation list. It was such a great miracle. God is able. You'll be at such a moment when you're totally stuck and you are helpless there. You don't have any decision to take for now. And dear friends, that's when God shows up. And I want to say, God is able. Never feel like He is far from you. Never feel like this is totally impossible. There is a way when you believe in God, He will always create a way. There is a way when at the last hour, at the last moment, there is a way how He will step in to make a way where there is no way. And that's our God, the creator of heaven and earth, that I'm telling you that He is able. This marriage will be totally stuck, dear friends, and you'll need God. There's this story of Nehemiah. Nehemiah chapter 4 and chapter 5. You remember he was building the temple. He had got a revelation to build the temple of God from exile. And when he was building the temple, there was this man, Sanballat and Tobiah, who came and mocked him and the community around him that mocked him and said that, what are you even doing? This one you're doing, even if just a monkey steps on it, it will collapse down, it will fall down. You people, we cannot believe in you, you cannot do anything. And the opposition was so tight. The opposition was so tight, dear friends. I want to tell you, in your marriage, you'll be at somewhere, maybe you're progressing on some matter, and you'll be totally stuck. You'll be feeling like, is it from God? Do I deserve all this torture? Do I deserve all this pain? Do I deserve to go all this way? Maybe you are feeling of walking out. Maybe you're feeling of what else can I do? But you will find a lot of opposition here and there. Some people, you remember, you could have got opposition actually from your in-laws. Last time we shared about in-laws. You could have got opposition from your in-laws, from the people around you, from your neighbors, from your own spouse could have rejected you, and you feel like, what is all this? Maybe you could be going through some hard time with your friends. But I want to challenge your friends that God is able. God told Nehemiah. God told Nehemiah, and this, Nehemiah got a revelation. Whoever was building, he had a fighting weapon also, and laying bricks. You are laying bricks, you have equipment to lay the bricks and the sand, but you also have a fighting weapon, such that if an enemy comes, you put down the bricks and you use your fighting weapon. So, dear friends, God gave Nehemiah such a kind of persistence, such a kind of persistence. And at times, God does not come through the ways you are expecting him to come from. By the way, this is the essence of this message that I'm trying to share. That the way God comes through for us is likely not to be exact ways that you are suspecting, exact ways that you are hopeful in. So, dear friends, God has all ways that He will come to save you, to rescue you, to provide you, to meet your need, and bring you peace and abundance in your marriage. Praise the name of God. Yes, yes, friends. So I want to challenge you, dear friends, that God, with Nehemiah, He did not take away the opposers, the opposition people. And God had the power to silence them. God has power to push them away. But for some reason, He only equipped Nehemiah and the team, to stand against these people. The people got a lot of persistence and consistency to fight on, to build until when they finished. And I remember there's another example of Moses. I've always in the pulpit life, shared with the people, the example of Moses. Moses tells God that, I'm a stammering man. I don't know how to speak well. I am a stammering man. Moses was stammering, I tell you. Some of the original clips, when you get to them, Moses was stammering. That to finish a sentence, you would be already too bored to listen to him to finish a sentence. But God did not work on his stammering disability. Instead, He said, I will give you your brother Aaron and he will interpret for you. God is able. That is what I'm telling you, dear friend. That you have a stammering issue, which God can deal with, God can deal with it. But instead of dealing with it, He has given you an interpreter. You keep your stammering, and God will give you an interpreter who will interpret well what you're trying to say. So, dear friends, God will come through those other ways that you didn't expect, you hardly believed, you hardly expected of. So God is able. Don't this marriage, you cannot handle it within your means alone. You cannot handle it within your limits alone. You need to depend on God and to believe that this God is able and He will take you through, dear friends. So that is the message, dear friends. There is this other scenario, Matthew chapter 17, verse 4. The gospel according to Matthew 17, verse 4. These people, the Pharisees, they came to the disciples of Jesus and they called Simon, doesn't your master pay taxes? Doesn't your master pay taxes? That was the question, dear friends. And immediately, Simon said he pays taxes. And they were like, I think they were trying to, where is the tax for this year? Where is the tax for this period? We don't see it in the records. So doesn't your master pay taxes? So Simon Peter comes to his master, to our Lord Jesus Christ, and he talks to him that they want the taxi. And Jesus says, go down to the net, put down your weapon to catch the fish. The first fish you catch, you will find there enough money to pay our taxes. Now, this one is also something outrageous. This is something out of bounds. This is something very far that you could expect, dear friends. God, He tells this Simon Peter, He says, go in the fish and catch the first fish. Go down in the lake and catch the first fish you catch. You will find there enough money to pay our taxes. Not even catch fish and sell the fish. Not catch as many fish and sell them such that we can get the money. But He says, the first fish you catch, you'll find the money. That is the God I'm talking to, dear friends. That will come through a number of ways that you can hardly expect. And expect, dear friends, you will be totally stuck in the way of life at your marriage. Once in a while, here and there, you reach a time and you're like, what happened to my spouse? What happened to my husband? What happened to my wife? What happened to our family? What happened to all the aspirations we had? What happened to all the beliefs that we had? What is it? What happened? Dear friends, I want to challenge you. I want to encourage you that our God is able. Can we put it in perspective? Yes, let's try to put it in perspective, dear friends. In our relationships as a couple, that's one of the perspectives. You'll find for some reason, somewhere, you are struggling to relate with each other. You are struggling for intimacy. You are struggling to connect with each other. You are struggling to relate with each other. You reach a time and your spouse looks like a stranger to you. Yes, those moments will be there. If they have not yet come, thank God for your life, for your marriage. But I want to tell you, those moments will be there when you feel like your spouse looks like a stranger to you, when you no longer have any feelings for your spouse, when you're struggling to do anything together, when you're struggling to bring anything in common understanding together, dear friends, when you're struggling to respect each other, you're struggling with dear friends to flow with each other. And I want to challenge you and inform you that that's the moment when you're saying that God is able. He will come through ways that you could hardly expect, you could hardly believe, dear friends. It could be from nowhere. Your spouse this time comes home very excited, maybe with gifts, maybe with what? Very excited, and they have stories to share and share. They are telling you a lot of aspirations, a lot of awards they have won. They're telling you a lot of good things they have found out. And for some reason, from there, the whole curve, there's a turnaround in your systems, and now you're flowing, you're talking to each other, you're connecting with each other, and now you are in love with each other, dear friends. So I want to tell you that is what I'm meaning that God is able. He will come through ways that you hardly could ever think of. In communication, you will reach at a time when in your marriage communication is totally failing. I mean, like you try to communicate your spouse, but it cannot come through. Each time you try to communicate, you are understood the opposite way. You are understood a very different perspective. Each time you speak something good on table, I mean, it is misinterpreted. It is used against you, and you're like, but why? Have you reached that moment when you share something good with your spouse, and that what you shared is used against you? What you shared next time becomes a point of reference. You remember you said this. Kumbe, you said it in a good heart, in a good spirit, dear friend, but it gets used against you. So communication, you are stuck and you have no way to communicate. Maybe you've taken weeks and you are failing to communicate, you're failing to be in touch with each other, you're failing to be intimate with each other, and therefore from nowhere there is a way how the spark comes in. For us, we have the Marriage Fellowship. Sometimes this spark can come when you go for the Marriage Fellowship. The Marriage Cell, maybe you've gone to attend a Marriage Fellowship, and for some reason you come from there when you are excited, you come from there when you are rejoicing, you come from there, you reach home and you dive in, friends, you enjoy and you rejoice, and the whole turnaround happens. Life is so good and so glad. So I want to challenge you, dear friends, that God is able when you're totally stuck. When you're totally stuck, yes, like Elijah was completely totally stuck of what to feed him. You'll be at a time when with the provisions, you're totally stuck of where to get provisions. I know when you're talking of provisions, normally what are the priorities normally when you want provisions? God give me a better job. God give me promotion at my place of work. God bring me more customers in my business. God expand my business. Bring me more clients. Give me a better job. Give me a promotion. Those are some of the prayers that we are doing, dear friends. But let me tell you, dear friends, I want to challenge that God is able. He will do it in a way that you may not understand. For example, He can give you a side business. He can give you an idea of a side job. Myself, I'm a consultant. He can give you a consultation service, from somewhere, and he's paying you very well. He can give you even a consultant service, for just like 1 week, and it pays you for like what you earn in like 2-3 months. So that is how God is able, how He works with, dear friends. So I want you to trust and believe in this God that He would use means that are beyond your understanding. Most of our people, especially in our Uganda, in our country here in Uganda, you'll find that most people their expenditure is way higher than their income. And there's a way how God does that mathematics. You may not have stolen anyone, may not have stolen from anyone, you may not have been corrupt in any way, but dear friends, God will have a way how to make His cards add up and will create ways that you cannot believe in. Can you believe it? You could be there at your place of work and maybe, and God create some outing, God create some seminar, and you are chosen to go be among the people who are going for a seminar. In some organizations, especially NGOs, special government agencies, if you go for a seminar for a week, it is likely to cater for your whole salary. That is the God I'm talking about. That's the God I'm talking about, dear friends. God creates a way, and from nowhere you were not qualifying, you are not even part of this department, but they stretch their hand to pick you from a different department to bring you on board. And by the time they bring you on board, you are seconded for this seminar, you're seconded for this workshop, you go for this workshop. By the time you come from there, you have enough fees for your children. Our God is able. Don't limit him, Maya. It has to be a promotion. It has to be a better job. No, God can decide to keep you at that small job, earning very small. But for some reason, He creates for you this side, other hustle, side businesses. He creates you for consultancy. He creates for this and this, and you are you are earning more and more. So that is the God I want you to believe, dear friends. This life is not by sight; it has to be by faith. Let me also make it clear. Life is not by sight, it has to be by faith in God, because God created us to live to Him by faith. Yes, to live to Him by faith, dear friends. So I want to challenge you, dear friends. Yes, in the provision area, you'll find God creating ways in such a ways. I've always told people a story about how we got our car. How we were stuck, we had saved money and it was not adding up, adding up. There's a way how God gave an idea to my wife and she brought an idea. What if we do this and this and this? Can't we make it? Oh my God, I could not go any further. So where has such an idea been all the time? So we did this and this, and the maths worked out, and we were able to be on the road. So, dear friends, I want to challenge you. I want to call on you, dear friends. And many people have such a testimonies. Many people have such a great testimonies. I have seen people have organized like crusades. They have organized like, gospel conferences, and they're totally stuck, and for some reason, like a day to the conference or on the very day of the conference, if someone comes from nowhere and is like, I've given you this amount of money, like 10 million shillings, depending on the size of the conference you're going to hold. Someone gives you money and it's like 80% of all the budget you need. That's the God I'm telling you. He's a miracle working God. He's a miracle working God, dear friend. Jehovah. Yes. So I want to challenge you. And to challenge you, dear friends, that Jehovah Jireh is a miracle working God. So, in the area of parenting, you could be stuck with your children. Maybe your child has totally changed and you're struggling. You're like, but God, why? I don't know whether some of you have had your children and you see your child getting off track, your child getting off, your child getting a very bad behavior that is very strange to your family, very strange to all of you. And you have prayed, you have talked to this child, and things have not changed until from nowhere, maybe they've heard from someone outside, maybe they've attended some movie, maybe from church, maybe from nowhere. From nowhere, the child begins to change, the child begins to come closer to you, the child begins to drop whatever was taking them away, the child begins to speak against what was taking them away, the child begins to conform now to the right standards of your family, the right values of your family. In parenting, God will prove to you that He is able. At your intimacy, maybe you're failing to connect at all. For some reason, you've taken a month of struggling in your intimacy area and you're asking, but God, why is this? And for some reason, maybe you brought a gift, maybe you did something in your love language, maybe somewhere you wake up and life is working very well and you're enjoying each other, and God is making beautiful for you, dear friends. And that's what we are saying, that God is able. God is able. Your career, have you ever been there? Maybe you're being harassed at your place of work. Maybe you've been chased at your place of work, and dear friends, and you are not connecting at all, and life is so hard. Maybe from nowhere, either your boss who was harassing you is taken away. Your boss who was giving you hard time, maybe one morning comes and he says, I'm resigning my job. Sometimes it can happen like that. That you could be hustling so much with your at your place of work, and for some reason, God just takes away your boss, who has been your immediate supervisor and giving you a lot of hard time. Some of you have done research, especially dissertation, especially at postgraduate courses, dear friends. You could have done research for some good time and you're struggling, and this supervisor is giving you the worst of the time. But for some reason, you will meet him this very morning and he's like, bring your final copy tomorrow. I sign it. I want to sign it before I go away. I want to sign it before I fly away. I have a flight the other day. So make sure you bring it tomorrow and I sign it. People have seen such a great testimonies. And the supervisor, you've been on and you've been saying, oh God, maybe you've done fasting, you've done prayer, you've taken it to counselors, but it has not worked. All of a sudden, your supervisor, bring it tomorrow morning. I sign your final copy. If I don't sign it, you'll not find me anytime. That is the God that we are talking about, dear friends, and that's the God that we are believing in. Have you had conflict management that has taken a toll on you, and you're failing to break through? You're failing to break through, dear friends. You have a conflict that is there. But for some reason, God makes you to forget about everything. God makes you to get on a new page. He clears your mind, He clears the page, and you begin to see flowing with your spouse, flowing with your spouse, dear friends. So I want to challenge you. There's some areas that God will work on you in a very miraculous, mysterious ways. God has many mysterious ways He can work out your things. It does not always have to be logical. Those of you who are believers in logical frameworks, see, sometimes you'll get problems. This God that we serve, He will work beyond every logical framework. He will work every logical framework. He will work beyond every cultural belief. He will work beyond every cultural tradition. This God is able to work beyond all that, dear friend. So be strong. Be stronger, dear friends. Maybe you have had power fights and you're flexing, you're tired of each other. You are saying, I cannot move on anymore. I can't. But for some reason, God comes from nowhere. I know that sometimes when some situations I had in my own marriage, and you come when like the whole day you are planning how to talk to your spouse, how to maybe to say this time I must bring it on the table, this time I must confront, this time I must speak it out. But for some reason, by the time you reach home, by the time you meet your friends, you find God has changed the whole environment. Maybe you find when your spouse is very jovial, the one you left at home when you're not talking, you find to meet and very jovial with excitement. And they have, these exciting matters to share with you, dear friends. So I want to tell you that God is able. He will make mysterious ways to save you, to help you. Addiction is you could be having some addictions at your place. Could be addiction. Can it be addiction of football, by the way, of sports? You have a husband who is watching sport, at 3 a.m. When there is this Premier, we recently finished the Premier. When it's a Premier League, you just know they will never come back home early. Is it now the World Cup that is going on? And you just sure, this is a season for you to suffer. They will be coming in past midnight. Addictions, alcohol. Is it addiction of alcohol? That your spouse is addicted to alcohol, to drug abuse? Your spouse is addicted maybe to masturbation, even at worst. What kind of addiction, dear friends, at your marriage? But for some reason, I want to tell you, God will come from nowhere and you just see your person changing. There are some process by process steps we can take you through to change this. You must go through this. You must have this. You must have this. But when God is there for you, I want to challenge you. I want to speak to dear friends. He will use means that you can hardly ever think of. And I want you to believe in that God. I want you to be logical and work out your processes, but also have a gap to know that God can use ways that you can never understand. Understand? There's some people struggled in their sex life, but for some reason it worked out in a way that they could not understand. There's some people who struggled so much in their finances, managing their finances, but for some reason they tell you today they balance their finances very well. It's a matter of the heart also, the heart issue. The matter of the heart is the heart of the matter. So sometimes it is a heart issue. Someone just needs to change their heart. Someone needs to change their attitude. Someone needs to change their belief. Someone needs, to be touched and you remember how Paul changed from Saul to Paul? Yes, sometimes you need that revolution. You know how Peter changed? Simon Peter was a fisherman and someone very stubborn, someone who could not keep quiet, someone who was, but there is a way God touched him and this man became the bishop. So we need that power of God to say God is able and our marriages will make a turnaround and we will never be the same again. Never be the same again. So may the good Lord bless you, dear friends. I want you to believe that God is able. He will use mysterious ways. He will use ways that are beyond you. He will handle your issues in ways that can never be understood, at far above you. So that's the God I'm telling you, dear friends. That's the God I want you to believe in, that God is able in your marriage. There's certain things, maybe you've gone to pastors, to counselors, and it has not worked out. But when you believe in this God, all will be very well. The Lord bless you. My God.